It's January the 5th, 2014. This is Tropical Weather Bulletin number 72, and looking at the world right now, we have two tropical cyclones active at the moment and two invests as well to look at right now. First of all, we have Tropical Cyclone Bejisa, which is currently weakening as it moves towards the southwest away from Madagascar. We have a new cyclone 1B in the North Indian Ocean, which is threatening Sri Lanka, and we have two invests, 91S near Madagascar, and we also have 90P, which is near Fiji right now. First of all, looking at the Western Pacific satellite imagery over the past few hours or so, not too much going on here. There's a little bit of a disturbance towards the bottom right of the image here, but apart from that there isn't really much going on in this region. That's the first one there. Looking at the Eastern Pacific, for what it's worth at this time of year, there's a lot of disturbance towards the eastern side of the picture, with rain likely to threaten the Baja California Peninsula and the rest of northern Mexico, but not too much going on there as you would expect for this time of year. Looking at the Atlantic right now, we have a system on the left-hand side of the screen there over the northern Caribbean, over Cuba and Florida, causing some overcast skies and a little bit of rain here and there, possibly over the northern Bahamas as well. And you can see it's stringing itself all the way towards the northeast, passing the Azores and beyond. There's a frontal system, but nothing tropical. In the Indian Ocean, this is where it's all going on right now. Tropical Cyclone Bejisa moving towards the south, away from any land masses and on its way to turning post-tropical. And we have the Invest 91S near the Madagascar, and 1B not too far from Sri Lanka. Most of the cloud is off to its left, up to the west over the Indian continent. Looking at the sea surface temperatures right now, first of all you're looking at the South Pacific. The islands on the left hand side there is American Samoa and Samoa itself. Warm waters in that area, and that invest is just to the left of that right now, so warm temperatures where that invest is currently located, certainly something to watch over the next few days. It's just off to the right hand side of this screen, off to the right hand side of Fiji, those islands off to the near the edge of the screen there, but warm waters all around this area, 28 to 30 degrees Celsius. Same too for the northern coast of Australia. If a tropical disturbance finds itself there, sea surface temperatures definitely in its favour. The Indian Ocean, fairly warm all across the board really. The cyclone Bejisa right now is currently traversing over cooler waters, that's on its way out. The Invest 91S over 30 degree waters, very pleasant near Madagascar, and the current storm 1B is over marginal waters right now near Sri Lanka, 26 degrees or so, which is why it won't really strengthen much, but more on that in a moment. First of all, Cyclone Bejisa right now, wind speeds 50 miles per hour, pressures 989 millibars, current position is 26.5 degrees south, 52.1 degrees east. The storm is expected to continue towards the southwest as it has been doing pretty much since just after it left La Réunion Island, which it passed as a very intense cyclone, and the storm is expected to weaken into a remnant low in the next 36 hours. So we're seeing the demise of that storm very soon. We also have the other one at the moment, Cyclone 1B, currently located not too far from Sri Lanka. Wind speeds 45 miles per hour, its pressure is 993 millibars, current position is 9.3 degrees north, 82.4 degrees east. And the storm's expected to move towards the west, curving towards the north slightly perhaps, and could make landfall on Sri Lanka as a tropical storm, which is at least somewhat a rare occurrence. And the storm is expected to weaken and turn into a remnant low as it reaches the southern tip of India. But that's the current situation with that cyclone. Not much intensification is expected. Looking at the shear tendency maps right now, the wind shear, this is the Indian Ocean. You can see the cyclone to the south is Bejisa. There's strong wind shear off to its left. There's a little pocket of lighter shear on its way towards the storm, but it won't last very long, and very soon it'll be ripped apart by that. As for the current storm in the North Indian Ocean in Sri Lanka, 1B, it's not looking too bad for it. It's decreasing and will certainly become more favourable over the next day or two, but sea surface temperatures aren't on its side really. Looking at the Australian region and the South Pacific, shear is fairly light in the tropical regions, apart from one or two areas of the northern Australian coastline which have higher amounts of shear and rising not too far from the Northern Territory coasts at the moment. Near the Cape York Peninsula there's a little pocket there that's rising as well, increasing at the moment. Off to its east rather, out over the South Pacific, low shear amounts all across here, and not too far from Fiji. I believe it's fairly low where that current invest is right now as well. Looking at the Western Pacific for any early development, it doesn't appear as though there will be any time soon, but looking at the shear maps right now, the best places for development at the moment are just east of Palau near the Micronesian islands and in the southern part of the South China Sea. Everywhere else looks pretty unfavourable right now. And now we'll move on to the water vapor imagery as well of the Western Pacific too. You can see lots of dry air hanging around the Mariana Islands off towards the east of that as well. But to the south and north of that there are areas of moisture in the south, the tropical region, one or two disturbances that aren't likely to form, but you never know. And further north we obviously have the other systems up there too, which are moving out towards the northern Pacific, towards the east. And over the Philippines as well towards China, in the northern part of the South China Sea, very dry air there too. This is the current storm Bejisa in the southern Indian Ocean. That's what it looks like right now on satellite imagery. The various different types of imagery that we're looking at right now. You can see there's not too much left of it. It's becoming much more weaker. The central core is still there with a few spiral bands trying to wrap around it, but it appears that it is weakening and it's on its way out, on its way to becoming a remnant low in the next day or two. This image is also slightly old. You can see the coast of Madagascar just off to the northwest of the storm, but it doesn't appear as though Bejisa is affecting it in a particularly big way right now, or indeed will it ever. This is the current model runs up for the southwest Indian Ocean. You can see a new system forming off the coast of Mozambique in the next few days. It isn't really fond on developing. The current Invest 91S doesn't believe it will form and just dissipate near the coast of Madagascar, but there is another low pressure system behind that which could develop into something in between Mozambique and Madagascar. The South Pacific right now looking fairly quiet. You can see near Fiji right now, which is near the centre of the screen just off to the right, that low pressure system which is the Invest right now, not moving very quickly towards the southwest, but could possibly develop a little bit over the next few days as it winds its way towards the southeast, initially stalls and then turns towards the southwest. North Indian Ocean and the Western Pacific right now, you can see a low pressure system which is the current cyclone near Sri Lanka and has it moving through Sri Lanka, the northern tip of it, and then dissipating towards its southwest. We also have an area of interest not too far from Palau towards the end of that loop as well. It'll be interesting to see what occurs, if anything, of that. The overall Predictor season scores for January the 5th, 2014 right now. Mudkip is top with 52 points, Zach in second with 62 and John in third with 88. Now these scores don't really mean much at this time of year because it is indeed very early on. We've had just the one storm in the North Indian Ocean right now and there are many more to come this year, I'm sure, so these scores will change rather dramatically. Don't forget, if you're wondering what's going on, if you participated last year, it's now the lowest score that has the highest result, or the best result. And that's the current situation right now. You can submit your own submission at the website force13.com. Just click the interactive button and follow it through to Predictor Season 2014. On this day, January the 5th then, in 1994, Tropical Depression 1W made landfall on Samar Island in the Philippines, causing $2.4 million in damages and 45 fatalities. And in 2009, Tropical Depression Orving dissipated as well in the Philippine region 5 years ago. Don't forget, on this day feature only covers a select few events at the moment because the database hasn't been compiled properly yet, but it will be extended over the coming weeks and months. And don't forget, you can track any storm that forms at the website force13.com/stormtracking.html is the main page for all the storm tracking information. Wherever the storm forms, whichever basin it is, there's a reminder of all the names here, the Atlantic, Eastern Pacific and Central Pacific on your screen right now. And if you go to the storm tracking page, you can see the current overview of the world with all the storms that are currently active, including invests and post-tropical cyclones, as long as they still pose a threat to any land areas. And indeed, there'll be updates in between videos on the website of all of those storms with warnings information as well. And you can click through to each individual region to show more information and more warning information on the current storms out there as well. You can also find us on our many social mediums, YouTube, Facebook and Twitter. We're on all of those, of course. You're watching one of them right now, I believe. Or if you have a direct comment for me, you can send a message straight through to my computer via the YouTube PM system or by the website on the contact form on there. And I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you have any specific questions about current storms, past storms and seasons, or about the general operation of Force 13, we're doing a question and answer feature now if necessary. If anyone has has any questions for it, which I'll be doing at the end of every Saturday bulletin, though this week there haven't really been any in particular. By the way, all of those people who are waiting for hypothetical hurricane seasons, there are a lot of you, so it will take a while at the very least to get all of them out there, and it will patience will be required on that one, because there are so many seasons and not enough hours in a day, unfortunately, but I'll try and get them out there as soon as I can. That's all for now. The next bulletin will follow tomorrow. That will be January the 6th, 2014. That will be Monday morning, but until then, that's all for now.